we think of Scotland's holiest sites, what springs to mind? Glasgow Cathedral, Iona Abbey and the Holy Isle, to name a few. But how much do we really know about them? Well, a new series on BBC4 this evening is promising something of a pilgrimage across 2,000 years of Britain's religious history, uncovering the stories behind many of our most famous sites. Pagans and Pilgrims aims to explain more about the myths and legends surrounding them. The programme is based on a book by Nick Mayhew Smith, and he joins us now. Good afternoon to you, Nick.
Good afternoon.
Now, you've spent 5 years researching your book, Britain's Holiest Places. What kick-started the interest for you?
Well, I went to a bookshop with my wife to buy a guidebook to all of Britain's sacred sites, and we couldn't find one. And I'd just sold a business I'd set up and I'd been working on for 10 years. It was a business publishing venture. And in typical midlife crisis mode, I thought I'd go for a change. But rather atypically, I thought I'd spend all those proceeds on church guidebooks and campsite fees, rather than the more usual ways of squandering money. So I put 5 years into travelling all the way across Britain to see what had become of our sacred heritage.
Now, the book has been turned into a television series. Is it primarily a religious programme?
No, I think it's almost the opposite of that in a way. We go, for example, to the ruins of St Andrew's Cathedral, and you're looking there at a place really which has a kind of pivotal point in history, and a lot of the places in my book and in the TV series are landscape elements. There's islands where saints have gone and so on. So I think religion is probably a much more kind of narrow view of this, and this is stuff that anybody, a Christian or an atheist or somebody of any faith, could go and appreciate, the kind of beautiful landscapes and the stories that have made up our nation's tales.
Were you surprised at how many kind of ancient relics are littering around the Western Isles in particular?
Yes, the Western Isles are a rich hunting ground if you're interested in following the traces of the old saints. And what I think is particularly good about the Western Isles of Scotland is you've got, on the one hand, Iona, which is almost leading light. It was one of the first places to be restored as a religious community in the whole of Britain. And then you've got places like Lismore and so on, which are much, much quieter, where you'll be the only pilgrim going around the churches there quite often.
And the Garvellichs and the McCormick Isles as well, there's a lot there.
Well, the Garvellichs, exactly. I mean, you could almost, the starting point of America is almost the Garvellichs, where St Brendan perhaps had his base and set off from there to discover America. But it's an island where no one lives, and you have to kind of work quite hard to get a boat out there to see the sort of beehive cells where St Brendan, one of the founding figures of world Christianity, really, the impact of his voyages are still felt today, where he lived. So there's something for everybody out in the West Coast.
Well, you say there's something for everyone, but how did you actually narrow it down? Sounds like you were spoilt for choice.
I was a bit, and I did put in the miles, and there's quite a few places I didn't include that I visited, just because I felt there that the kind of original context had been lost. So if a sort of Sainsbury's car park or something had been built over the holy site, then I kind of just thought, well, that's lost its kind of devotional context, if you like. But a lot of the places around Britain are still in active use, and there's kind of a very mixed tradition, obviously, with the Reformation as to what state they're all in. But I think you'll see as we go through the programme, there's the diversity that's out there is phenomenal. There's really, everything from the ruins of St Andrews, which is on tonight and the first episode, all the way through to Holy Island off Arran, which is now a thriving Buddhist community.
OK, just very briefly, you're not slightly concerned, though, that you're going to increase footfall to these very sensitive sites? We should, in fact, perhaps be preserving them and looking after them carefully.
Well, I did go to one place, Aberdour, with St Drostan's Well and Church, and it was me and the chickens scratching around the ruins of the church there. So I think they could probably cope with a few more pilgrims coming through before they get crowded out.
OK, it's been lovely to talk to you. And just very briefly, when is the programme on tonight?
It starts at 8:30 on BBC4.
We will be tuning in. Nice to talk to you, Nick. Thank you very much indeed.